Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Sunday, June the 7th, 2020. Today we're going to do another New York City exploration video. Can anybody guess where I am right now just by what you see behind me? I'm going to guess probably no. Right now, I'm on the Henry Hudson Parkway at the 96th Street parking lot. And we're going to go southbound today. We're going to walk down to the 79th Street boat basin. I have never covered the boat basin before, but I'm going to cover it today. You may remember, I think it was on December 25th, I photographed this very area that I'm in now going northbound. And we talked about some scenes from Charles Bronson's movie Death Wish. So today we're going to discuss some other TV shows that were filmed at the boat basin, and hopefully you'll remember some of them, and I'll be able to point out some historic points of interest on the way down. So that being said, let's get started, because we got a lot of walking to do today. We're starting today's journey at the 96th Street parking lot off the Henry Hudson Parkway. Walking down the stairs, I noticed something right away. You can see remnants of an old railing from many years ago. I bet that that railing was cut off and stolen by vandals many years ago for the scrap value. Now we're going to turn south. We're going to head down to the 79th Street boat basin. We're also going to explore some other hidden treasures that I uncovered sheerly by accident, and I think you're going to really like some of these things. So let's get started. Here you can see another section of the walkway that has eroded. It was a rare, beautiful, sunny Sunday morning, and there is no way I could let this pass. This is the ramp going to 96th Street. We've been on that before, if you saw my video from, I believe, December 25th. But we're going to head down now, and I was a little surprised to see how many people were out this early on a Sunday morning. Most everybody was wearing a mask, as they should, because even though the coronavirus pandemic is winding down, it's still out there, so it's better to be safe than sorry. This section you're looking at right here of the walkway is all brand new and man-made. Originally, the walkway was here on the left side. This never existed, okay? Here you can get a better shot of it. People would walk here. This did not even exist. But what happened is, this was deemed unsafe. I climbed over the railing to give you guys a better look. Now, originally, this concrete was not here. They had that old-fashioned green railing that the Henry Hudson Parkway is notorious for, which is still there in many areas, especially at 96th Street. But over the years, people would hit the green railing, and it rusted out and gave way, and cars would actually enter this area, the pedestrian area. And I'm not going to say if anybody was killed, but it was deemed unsafe. So they created this whole new addition right here, built over the water, and it's part of the Greenway and Riverside Park. This railing is original. The railing over there is brand new. Here's a better look at it. Again, the concrete is not original, and back in the old days, they didn't even have this guardrail here. There was no divider, and many times cars would come flying over heading north and hit people head-on going south, and it was very gruesome indeed. I will say that they keep the Henry Hudson Parkway very well maintained. They repave it literally every 3 years, even though it doesn't need it, which is ridiculous in my opinion. There are so many other roads that could use the work, but they love repaving the Henry Hudson, but they don't do anything to fix the drainage. The road always floods out when it's raining out. Now, Let's get back on the other side and continue on our way going south. I want you to get a better look here at the old versus the new. See, this part of the railing is not original. This was put in afterwards. This, of course, is brand new. The Parks Department uses these little Cushmans here, and they're allowed on this walkway. The wall on the left here is not original. Nor is this, of course. Here you can see the division between the old and the new. I'm entering in the older section now. This fence is not original. This was added on some time ago. These are here so people don't drive motor vehicles in there. For one thing, it's illegal. Second thing, I don't think it's strong enough. Now, before we head south anymore, I'm going to make a left turn here because I want to show you something. I'm going underneath this tunnel, and I'm coming to this doorway. I bet none of you guys remember what this doorway will lead to. We talked about it back in December. The railroad yards. I don't know how these graffiti guys got in here, but that gate is solidly locked. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't mind getting in here myself. If any of you guys ever want to read a book about people that live underneath the railroad yards, underneath the subway tracks, there's a book by John Saul called The Manhattan Hunt Club. I highly recommend it. I've read the book about 10 times, and I would read it again. It is an excellent book, and you learn a lot about people living under the various levels of subway. Let's proceed on. I came across these items here. I don't know the correct name for them, but if I had to hazard some kind of a guess, I would say it has something to do with launching boats. If any of you guys have any more information on that, please comment below. Here again is another interesting little enclosure. I came upon this by accident. It's a long, unused passageway, and I just had to check it out for my own edification, if not yours. I'm going in. It's dark. I know what this is. I bet some of you guys can figure it out as we proceed in. Note, the concrete has fallen off in certain sections, and here is an old, unused roll-up gate. See it? Going down a little further, this pigeon was just hanging out watching me. He was the only other person in here. And it's getting too dark for me to really take any good pictures. But this is an unused, dormant parking garage. Coming back out again, I now want to explore the 79th Street Oval before we go back down to the boat basin. If you come off the Henry Hudson Parkway and you're heading southbound, this is where it's going to put you off at. And here's some people on the right taking pictures, and I'm going to join them. That's an overlook view of the boat basin itself. Looking downward. Now remember, I'm on the top level. Level 2 is where this lady is, and level 1 is the boat basin marina itself. Another look at the oval. This is very interesting here. I like this. This is original pavement dating back to the 1940s. It has never been totally resurfaced. You can see that clearly. Original concrete. This is looking down from the center area. You'll see there's a person flat out in the middle there. We'll be seeing him again later when we actually walk in there. I was noticing how some of these are bricked up while some of them aren't, and I'm not quite sure why. This is an original base for a signpost. I'm guessing back to the 1940s. This would be the ramp coming off the Henry Hudson Parkway, and it will dump you off right here. I also noticed this railing here. I believe that was so if any cars lost their brakes and didn't stop, it would protect the cement wall. But you can see the railing is quite old and it's been hit quite a few times. See it? I'm not sure why they closed off the very left section of this circle. Now, I don't know why. The only thing I could theorize is that maybe underneath it, it's structurally unsafe. But if that's the case, why would they put these heavy concrete blockers in here? That makes absolutely no sense. Here's another view on the side, an older vintage bike rack. We're now going to go into the area where we just were looking down on. I call it the pavilion, but there's a water fountain in there, and you'll see that shortly. I was the only single solitary person inside here, with the exception of the gentleman that was flat out. See, some of these sections have been bricked up while others haven't. I'm wondering what's behind the bricks. I took a picture of what I believe is the biggest pigeon in the city of New York. This guy's huge. I came across this abandoned fast food franchise, for lack of a better term. I was examining this, and it still stinks of grease. You know that cooking grease they use when they're making donuts and the like? Well, this area seems to be abandoned, and I never actually did see it open, but maybe some of you guys did. Not sure what that is. I think it might have something to do with electrical. These spikes mean business. They don't want you climbing those bad boys, even here on the edge. '79th Street Boat Basin. They say it's open 24 hours a day, and heck, maybe it is. That's a view going down onto the basin itself. Boats. I am definitely not a big boat enthusiast. I don't like boats, and I don't get on boats because I get seasick really easily. The only boat I can get on is the Staten Island Ferry, and even then I have to stay on the bottom level, and that's another reason why I can't play video games. Cars are not allowed on the walkway here, except for this car happens to be a parkie. You can see he's got his emblem there, so he's allowed. Vent gate. I came across these delineations, and they appear several times on the path, and I'm not quite sure what they mean, if anything. Beautiful day out. Again, those spikes mean business. These guys were enjoying a sunny Sunday morning. Continuing south, here's a spot that's starting to erode on the walkway. This has actually fallen through because the water gets underneath the seawall and it erodes the dirt. There are plenty of other interesting things to visit in Riverside Park, which is a very long park in Manhattan, but I can only do so many today, and we're getting to some of the really interesting stuff right now. This is something that is just so freaking majestic, words elude me. This is the only remaining section of the old-fashioned Miller Highway. We're going to go under there now and explore it as best we can, but I have to tell you something. I am in awe of this metalwork. Years ago, I was able to get underneath here all the way. We're going to go pretty far under now, but not all the way. But I want you to see, this is an actual 1940s era lamppost on the old structure of the Miller Highway. My friend Rob absolutely loves these lampposts. He can draw them, He sends me Christmas cards with them on sometimes. And let me tell you something. If you look right here, you can see that they actually removed all the concrete. So you cannot walk on this structure. Even if you ran across the highway and tried to access it, there's a fence stopping you from doing so. I was told that the reason they never dismantled this section of highway is because of engineering purposes. That this actually leads, or should I say lends, stability to the new structure, which is right next to it, which we'll get a better look at really soon. I'm going all the way in. The ivy here is growing on the original Miller Highway section. And actually, when you think about it, that it was built in 1940, it's not in such bad shape. I used the zoom lens for this. You can see there was some rot here. I think this is a drain right here, but I'm not 100% sure. But you can see the intricacies here. I really, really loved the old Miller Highway. If you look closely in this picture, you can actually see where they connected the new structure to the old structure. I guess for stability purposes. There's another view of the arch. A nice close-up of the original light pole. It kind of looks like the bottom of this glass is broken here. Now, this area right now is locked off. I couldn't get into this area, but I think apparently sometimes it's open, but it's what's beyond you really can't get into. There's another view. I'm right up against the fence line here, but years ago I got under here because there was no fence. Another view. Under here is the railroad yard where we spoke of earlier. Oddly enough, I was the only person down in this desolate section. Green is the color of the day, and it's just like your roller erector set when you were a kid. This area is so darn photogenic. Now, as you can see, they built an entire park under the new elevated West Side Highway. This section here is the southbound section, and over here is the northbound. Back in the old days, this was all abandoned underneath. It wasn't nice and parky like it is today. I do not know exactly what project they're working on right here, but it may have something to do with the railway. Here, mounted cops are patrolling. Unfortunately, the sun glare did me disservice, so I couldn't get a good shot of them. And there they go, on patrol, because there's no way to get a police car down in here. Back in the 70s and the 80s, this was not a place you would want to be anyway. This leads up toward the street. Here you can continue on your way. And you'll be happy to know we're going to continue on our way. Now, what's going on here, some of these guys on these bicycles are like kamikaze, Evel Knievel guys. This guy right here, when shooting by me, quite close, closer than I would have liked, but apparently he almost clipped this guy. And they got into a loud shouting match, so I couldn't help but photograph it. You'll notice that the bicyclist is using one of those rented city bikes. And he actually almost hit this poor guy. And not only that, after that, he went out of his way to make a U-turn, come back, and confront the guy. But it didn't escalate into anything, but I did have a chat with the gentleman right here about things. Now we're coming to something very interesting. Possibly the first or second most interesting thing we've come to today. Can anybody take a guess and tell me what this is? There's another look at it. This is actually the New York Central Railroad 69th Street Transfer Bridge. It was placed on the National Register of Historic Places by the Department of the Interior in the year 2003. If any of you guys are specialists and know about how this kind of thing functioned, what exactly happened here, I would really like to know. I guess that at one time ships would dock here, because back in the 1940s, or even the 30s, I guess, this was probably a big shipping hub. And I'm not sure what this is about. I honestly don't know. So I'm really hoping some of you guys can tell me. You can clearly see stairs going up here, up to here, up here, and into the lookout. Oh, I would love to get in there. I would absolutely love it. But there's no way to get over here. It's surrounded by water. Close-up view. You got to admit, this is really neat. As I said earlier, it's very dangerous with bicyclists whizzing by here, and the city has painted warnings on the pavement itself. I was intrigued at the way the West Side Highway drains in this section. You've got these long viaducts or conduits that come down, they run along the concrete post, and they empty out here. That is what I just read to you earlier. That's a view of a pier. I didn't have time to go all the way out there. Maybe if I visit this place again, I will. And there, that's a better view of it. So guys, that is it for today's little lesson. I sure hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took me a long time to walk up and down, take all these pictures, and make this video. But if you enjoyed it, it's well worth it. Let me know if you know the function of this particular structure. I have absolutely no idea, but I'm sure it involves ships and shipping traffic in some way back in the old days, and I'm sure somebody out there can shed a light on that. So please comment in the comment section. That would be great if you could. Also, let me know if there's anything in this video that caught your eye that you'd really like to discuss, or if there are any other places in New York City you would like me to cover. I'll be more than happy to do it. I can really only do it on Sundays, assuming that it's nice and not raining. But today was a picture-perfect day, and I'm glad I was able to get out there. Guys, I'm Crazy New York Driver, and you're not. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Smash that notification bell for more like this. And above all, please remember these 3 words. Don't be fitchy! Ha ha ha!